So John chapter 9, and it's a long gospel reading. And gusto ko lang i-emphasize this morning yung verse 35. Jesus heard that they had put him out, and finding him, he said, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" He answered, "Who is he?" Di ko kilala eh. He answered, "Who is he, Lord, that I may believe in him?" Jesus said to him, "You have both seen him, and he is the one talking with you." Siguro ito yung narrative or storya ng buhay natin from the beginning to end. That everything from the beginning and in between and in the end, it is all by the grace of God. God, hindi ko alam kung theologically accurate ang sentence na to, no? But I hope you'll get the essence of it. God is not dependent on our knowing Him. God is not dependent on anything that we can do. He is dependent on His grace. Kasi maliwanag rito eh. Kasi akala natin, God is dependent on our knowing the Bible from beginning to end. But this blind man from the very start, again, he is blind and maybe he is begging. Actually, he's not even asking to be healed. He was there on the path of Christ, just like us. And he was ambushed, surprised by the grace of God. Kaya siguro yun ang message ng Lent sa atin, or even all seasons. That we should die to self. Yun naman lagi ni sinasabi ng Panginoon sa atin. Die to self. And just allow, receive, submit, surrender to God's grace. Kasi most of the time, he's not dependent on our even religious belief. Kasi yung mga Pharisees, sabi, he is a sinner. Or yung religious belief nila is, he healed on the Sabbath, so he is a sinner. Walang ano kay Lord yun eh. Even he's a sinner. Or, God is not dependent on our programs of our personal happiness or salvation. Because grace, we cannot create. But we are always tempted to create grace for ourselves. You cannot create, you cannot engineer, you cannot manufacture, you cannot fake it, you cannot will it, you cannot earn it, you cannot work for it, you cannot be so perfect for it, you cannot even be always correct to experience the grace of God, which yung blind man fits into the category of receiving and allowing the grace of God in his life. Kasi ito ang problema natin. If we did not choose it, if we did not know it, or if we did not create it for ourselves, it's hard for us to accept because we are not involved. Our ego is not involved in what happened to us. So yun ang challenge siguro sa atin ng Lent. To die to our self, and allow the grace of God. And most of the time, God's grace, katulad dito sa beginning ng chapter 9, He ambushes us, He surprises us with grace that is beyond our religious formulas. Can you imagine, bulag ka na nga eh. Tapos ang ginawa ni Jesus, hindi niya pinag-pray. No? Kumuha ng dumura, dumura sa lupa, kinuha, ginawang clay, and ito nga bulag ka na, nilagyan ka pa ng clay sa mata. Di double blind ka na, hindi ka na makakakita. Tapos inutusan ka pa, hindi lang yung jump 3 times or do a twist, turn around. Tap your hands and, sabihin mo, my head, my toes, my shoulder, and knees. Hindi. Pumunta ka doon sa pool or cold scent. Double blind. Pinapunta ka pa sa malayong well. Wala bang malapit-lapit, Lord? Wala bang 7-Eleven dito? Wala bang convenience store na may watered bottle na pwede ko na lang ilagay sa mata ko? Ba't papupuntahin mo pa ako sa Tugigaraw para maghugas ng mata? And yet, this blind man allowed the incomprehensible, quote-unquote, ridiculous way of God's grace manifesting in his life. And what happened? He was able to see. Siguro grace helps us to see grace. It also takes grace for us to recognize and see grace. Parang si Jesus Christ, it all started with the blindness of the disciples. Lord, who sinned? Pero the grace in the eyes of Jesus Christ, it's not who sinned. What he saw is that the glory of God, the works of God, may be done on this blind man. So may we allow the grace of God, receive the grace of God, surrender the grace of God, that we may see the grace of God instead of always seeing who sinned, who's correct, who's perfect, who's right, who's wrong. Ganun tayo mag-isip eh. Grace causes us to see clearly and see things the way Jesus Christ sees things. That in every situation of our lives, that the glory of God may be manifested in our lives. And that's how we should see things and receive healing from our blindness. Again, everything is grace, beginning to end, and the all in between of our lives. Amen.